Alright, so hey guys, it's me Feliciel, and today I'm back with a voiceover this time, and I want to discuss what I've learned in the past 6 years, pretty much since I started to draw. So first of all, I just want to quickly talk about the drawing that you can see on the screen that I'm painting. This was based off of a picture of some of my friends that ended up falling asleep in front of a movie after a party. And since I don't really see them as much anymore because they either all left for university, some changed country, I wanted to have a little reminder of them because they're very, very important to me. I have so many high school memories with them and it was really nice to have them around. Now, I don't really want to talk too much about the backstory because, to be honest, it's not very deep. And I want to discuss why I chose to do it now and why in this medium. So since October pretty much, which was when I bought my Huion tablet, I've been almost all the time drawing digitally because at school they make us only draw traditionally and only with pencils. We don't practice any color. We all just have a pencil, a piece of paper, and an eraser. So since I was doing so much of that at school, I wanted to diversify what I was doing when it was for myself. But nevertheless, I've really neglected watercolors as a medium for maybe the past 6 months. And I find that is like such a shame because it is really amazing to use. There's just so many possibilities with watercolors, and you can pretty much use them the same way as you would use the multiply layer on Photoshop or on Procreate. It has a nice, transparent and soft texture, the colors have a really nice look, and it's just really therapeutic to use. If you're pretty new to drawing, I would really recommend you to try watercolors. It'll be confusing at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna struggle and you're going to fail a lot, but you can easily understand how it works with a lot of practice, and there's a bunch of really good videos on the internet explaining the do's and don'ts pretty much. You'll understand how it works, what affects the colors, and how it blends. If you want to experiment a bit more, you should really try to use colored pencils on top of your watercolor once it's dry, because it gives this really nice texture, which kind of allows you to accentuate the undertones, like in your shadows, for example. That's where I mainly use them. But in this drawing, I didn't do that. I just wanted to keep it only to watercolors to go back to my roots in a way. Also, I have to add as a disclaimer that using the tape was the worst idea ever on this drawing. So you probably saw me putting some water on this brown thing, which was the tape to make the borders of this drawing. And I don't know if I put too much water, if the tape is very old, if it's just not made for it. But when I took it off at the end of my drawing, it ripped out entirely the borders of my paper, but like the surface layer has disappeared. At least, I mean, I can't complain, it didn't affect the drawing itself, like my painting, but I guess it gives it more texture. All that to say that I should really invest in some better tape. So, let's get into the topic of this video, which is what I've learned in the past 6 years drawing. I started my Instagram account the moment I knew I wanted to improve my skill in art to potentially make it my job in the future. And just so that you know, that account was made in 2016, so it's been a hot minute. By the way, I really recommend you guys to do the same and document everything without deleting them. Like, yes, I'm aware, I'm also very ashamed of those drawings and they're not at all representative of my level now, but I've just posted so much so that I'm hoping people won't check my first posts because it's really bad. But I still decided to keep those drawings so that I'll be able to witness from my own eyes how far I've gone. And that is very satisfying. When you're having a day where you feel pretty low and you feel like you're stuck in your art, I just scroll back to the start of my feed of my account and I see those really shitty drawings, I'm like, damn, I'm good now. And it kind of helps with the ego. I originally started off by simply redrawing anime characters with no clue what I was doing, directly jumping to coloring it with either markers or colored pencils. And after a while of doing that on loose pieces of paper, I finally decided to invest in a sketchbook so that I would be able to produce a lot more. And it kind of helped in a way because since the markers were bleeding through the paper, I was taking more time trying to understand things since I wasn't directly jumping to color. And that's when I started to pick up watercolors. And I'd say that that's the moment where I actually started to learn how to draw properly. If I had to give my past self just one piece of advice, it would be to actually wait, take my time, and look up the fundamentals. I'm not saying that I should have known perfectly all the names of the muscles in the body and be perfect in perspective, but I genuinely believe that it would have actually helped me waste less time struggling and being confused to, why does my drawing feel off? Is there something wrong? I don't know what it is. And each time I knew there was something off with my drawing, but I never was able to specifically put my finger on it and say, the head is too big, the head is too small, the hands are bad. On another note, I'm aware that I trash talk a lot art schools because they're super expensive, which means going in debt for some of us, and in the end struggling to pay it back, and some of the teachers aren't even great, when instead you could just find all those resources online for free. But at least you get forced to learn the fundamentals and taking the time to understand and incorporate them. I cannot stress this enough. Just reading an article about things without actually doing like 3 pages of practice doesn't make you incorporate what you've learned. I never really bothered learning the fundamentals and taking the time before going to art school because I thought that it was the boring part and that, it was useless, I can just do without. But no, everybody has to go through there and just deal with it, suck it up, learn it, and then you're good. So do some studying and look up the fundamentals. By the way, if you're wanting to find classes on anatomy online, I 100% recommend the videos of Proco that's here on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description to his channel. And if one day you want to even go further, he has like some courses that you have to pay for, and it's pretty expensive, not gonna lie. But it's apparently much more detailed and it is very good, supposedly. But don't take my word on it. I haven't actually followed those classes. So yeah, just for your information. Also, in school we actually learned how to crosshatch. I remember when I was younger, I kept hearing art YouTubers saying, and now I'm crosshatching, or and now let's add the crosshatch. And I never really knew what it meant. I just thought that it was shading, plain and simple. And I must say, now that I know what it is and how it works, some of those YouTubers were not crosshatching when they were saying that they were, because they probably didn't even know either. So at least I know the technicality of things, which can really help, and the teacher can correct me if I use the wrong terms, and the teacher would explain what it is in detail. What's really nice is the demos that they do, where you see how they use every single technique that they've learned, and it's very helpful. So since I started school, I actually noticed that I'm drawing a lot faster and much more efficiently. I try to draw less lines and make things clearer. I know how I need to shade and then do the rest without thinking as much. Art has become less of a guessing game and more of a thought-out practice now. If you've been following my work for a while, you might notice also that I'm finally drawing a background. And that's something that I've become much more comfortable with as I've learned the fundamentals, especially perspective. Now here I didn't use a ruler to make sure that everything was lined up perfectly and at its place, but there's no need for that all the time. You just need to train your eye. Here what's further away is less defined, pretty blurry, darker, and I gave myself a little bit of freedom and let it be more loose. It actually gives it this interesting feel to it actually. On top of that, using a picture reference that already had the background really helped because I already knew where everything had to go and how it was aligned, so I really strongly recommend using references. As you probably know, there was a moment I just wanted to quit art school and not even want to hear about it because the environment didn't fit me, because it was super competitive and some people were low-key mean, not gonna lie. But that would be a mistake to just quit school and drop out, as my parents are willing to pay and I'm really grateful. Because schools really allow you to network and meet new people, and those people will eventually help you maybe get a job in the future. And it's all about finding opportunities. So I guess my final note would be, go to school, but not too much, and just live your life. I'm currently still in school, but from home, and I'm not gonna go back to follow the classes directly physically until the end of the year probably, because I do not want to. Last week, school started to offer the choice of going physically, but I sent them a mail explaining that I didn't want to because I'm way more efficient from home. I can now work on YouTube and make a lot more personal work, working on my portfolio, doing Twitch streams, all of that, and still following the classes and going to my rhythm. So all that to say that this concludes the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like if you like, and comment down below if you want to have more voiceover videos like this. And you can tell me whatever else you want and I'll answer you. You can also subscribe to be notified when I make a new video. And I'm also streaming on Twitch again, so you can check that out as well. And I got my Instagram where I post almost every day what I'm drawing. There's going to be all the links in the description, so that's for the shameless self-promo. I'm sorry, it gets annoying, I'm aware. But I really hope you stick around to support my work because I love doing that, and it makes my little heart happy when I see that people like it too. And that's all for today. See you next time. Tschüss!